20-year-old college kids now. I'm just like, what are these guys doing? Like, these guys are clueless. And it's just like this new generation. They just like, these guys are out of their minds. They're, I don't know, eating ass and doing Adderall and like whatever. I don't know what they're doing.
Episode 2 of Heavy Bagz. Talking with industry titans and people throughout the crypto space. Got my boy Primo on today. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, buddy. I'm glad you came on. So we've known each other for, 5 or 6 years at this point, probably.
Yep.
You said everything goes, so we're going to tell this story now.
Whatever you want. I'm here for you.
All right. All right. So it was like peak bull in what, like 1920, something like that. It had to be when we were in Dubai. It was just absolutely, the market was bonkers. People were making money hand over fist, and we were actually in a cabana.
Different time it feels like, man. A different time.
Right? Yeah. I've got less money and I've been working 10 times as hard. But yeah, I was in a cabana and a bunch of us were flipping cigarette packs for large sums of money because we didn't have a coin on us. And Primo came down. I had no idea who you were. And you're like, oh, let me get in this game. And I'm like, we sat there and flipped for quite a large amount for a few minutes. And instantly I was like, all right, I love this dude. Whoever the fuck this is, I'm instantly friends with him.
It actually started. It started with a race down the lawn. That was a first, and then it transitioned. But there was I don't remember who I was. Somebody, you asked me if we wanted to bet on the guys running a race down the lawn. I was like, of course I do. Sure, yes. Ran hot there and picked the winner, and then it spiraled. But we broke even and became good friends. It was great.
Yeah, I think that was Ponzi Trader, by the way. Shout out, because I think he smoked everybody. Yeah, but so we've been good friends for 6 or 7 years. We've done business together. You obviously helped me with CanPie, and we went omni-chain with that. But tell me a little bit, and tell the people that don't know who Bryan Pellegrino is. Like, what did you do before crypto? What was your gig?
Yeah, so I'll keep it like short version. College dropout, went to school for computer science, dropped out, played poker professionally for 8 years at like the highest stakes. I played 501k, heads up, no limit. So did that for a long time, traveled the world, like 65 countries then, quit poker, started a company, sold it, wrote some machine learning models I sold to a bunch of the pro baseball teams, started another company that got acquired, published some academic research with Facebook AI Research, and then started LayerZero. I've like first touched because poker got banned in the US. And so all of us poker players started using Bitcoin to just like move funds around because PayPal and money bookers and all that stuff was banned. So we started using crypto like way back in 2011, but like pretty heavily involved 2013 era onwards.
All winnings were claimed and taxes were paid, by the way.
100%.
So you started LayerZero with a couple of buddies of yours. And are you a coder dev? But is that what you were trained in?
Yeah, so computer science background originally. Hadn't written code for like eight years. Basically, entire time I was playing poker, wrote the machine learning models for the baseball teams that I am selling. So like got back into coding then. And then like have really, I've not written a line of code in production in a very long time. I do a bunch of the architecture with Ryan, but my co-founder, one of the friends who we started the company with, is just like a total savant. I can't hold a candle to him anymore. So very happy to not be writing production code anymore.
Those are good partners to have. I don't think people understand, like when you go into business with somebody, whether it be friend or not, like how important those people are to your life, because you become it's all consuming, right? And it's like you're spending all your time with these guys, you're relying on them, and you want them to be better than you are at certain stuff.
Have to be. Very, very much like a marriage, like in so many ways. I mean, we had known each other. So both my two co-founders, we were college roommates. So we've known each other a very long time. We built our first company together. I think if we hadn't gone, and like we had disagreements in the first company, like we went apart for a while. Is now like one of my very closest friends in the entire world. Like I think if we had not gone through all of that stuff, it's very likely LayerZero like doesn't make it here today. It's hard. Having co-founders is hard for sure. rewarding, great to have them, and like, yeah, but hard for sure.
And a lot of times it's even harder with friends than it is, with somebody that you just meet off the street because you do have that history and you kind of know the things that you can hit people with that really trigger them.
Yep, definitely.
What was it like? Because I've been fortunate enough to meet your team, legitimately amazing people, a lot of young guys on that crew. What was it like when you guys were holed up in the Bahamas living in, a couple of houses together? Did anybody want to kill each other? Like, how was that?
No, Bahamas was like, it was amazing. I mean, we started with like 7, when we went to Bahamas, which was like November 2021, we were like 7 people and we were entirely remote. Just Ryan, Caleb, and I worked together in Vancouver. And so we all moved to Bahamas, grew the team pretty quickly, like 25. And it was just like, back then we weren't thinking about much more than like get the best possible people. So it was like, we were just going out. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but we got like some really, really insane people. Like people who just blew my mind that I could ever convince them. I'll tell the story of one because I thought it was like the most picture perfect thing of like how far you should stretch when you're trying to hire somebody. And so like this guy, Daniel An, his father is the coach of the Korean National Math Olympiad team. At age 13, he went to Phillips, which is like best high school in the United States. At age 15, he was commuting to MIT and Harvard to do PhD level coursework in math and physics. Went and got his PhD under John Nash, so studied under John Nash, became the chief economist of the U.S. Department of State, and then the chief economist of BNP Paribas. And like we convinced that guy to quit his job and come work with us. So it was just like, we're gonna get the best possible people in the world. And we had to sell them on this vision to like move to the Bahamas and come like build this thing with us. And the pitch to everybody was just like, listen, you're like incredible at this thing you do, just like massive superstar. Like you're gonna come in and you're gonna work with a bunch of other people that are like equally amazing. We're gonna build something incredible. And so like it was just 25 of those people in these small huts in the Bahamas, and like people think it was like beach and sun and fun. It was like we were in that thing from like 8 o'clock in the morning until like 1 o'clock, and like every single day, 7 days a week. I didn't see beach the entire time we were there. But we shipped like 10 times faster than we had ever shipped. Obviously, we launched the protocol when we were there. At the end of it, all of us felt like we had gone through like this war together because there was just so many things that went wrong and it was like just full on chaos. And at the end of that, that was when we made the decision to be 100% in person. So we told everybody after that, everyone had came under the premise of remote, and we were just like, we have to keep this together, like pack up your lives and move to Vancouver, and that's what we're going to do. And 100% of the people did. But yeah, it was... I still look back super fondly on it just because there was no better time than just like being 100% all in.
I mean, look, that's not a bad pitch. Like you can either go live in a college dorm and study, or you can come here and make money and live in like a $5 million house in the Bahamas and have great weather. It's pretty easy pitch, to be honest.
It got people there for sure. I think maybe everyone felt a little bit rugged when it's like, all right, now we're all going to Vancouver, but it worked out. It was a great bait and switch. So
I was about to say, yeah, now that you're back in Vancouver, did anybody leave and stay behind or no? Everybody go?
Nope. So, yeah, we had 100% of the people there came here.
Well, that speaks volumes for you guys then as a company and as leaders as well. So I saw you were beefing with Apollo Finance. Anything you want to say to Apollo, or are we just going to leave that alone?
No, across, all right? Apollo, I'm not hating on anybody else other than across today.
Sorry, it was across. Yeah. I apologize.
Yeah. Across, there's been back and forth. There's a guy who's for 2 years straight on Twitter every day. He's just like, you got to debate me, and he's just every day just tweeting about us. I don't follow him. I don't like. It's just a guy like who's there constantly, and I don't even hate I don't even hate the premise of what they build. I've done 2 debates with them. It's fine, but tapioca guys. So there's 2 big hacks that happened last week that were got everyone kind of shook on the security side. Just reevaluating. One was Radiant Finance, which was super scary how it happened, and then the second was tapioca, and he's made this post grave dancing on tapioca and trying to basically say that trying to put part of it as on LayerZero, and it had it was completely with their local contracts and just nothing. Again, nothing related, but there's nothing I hate more than grave dancing in the industry, because it's so hard to build something, and so to attack these guys who have put a huge part of their lives and try to build something. So the whole thing that he was arguing about having infinite mint controls in your contract, he has in his contracts. And so I just wrote this thing just showing like the thing that you're making this moral grandstand against is literally in your own contract. So it's whatever. I had a little bit of fun with it this morning, but long-standing beef.
My favorite was when they came back and said, no, we've been audited. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I'm like,
there
okay.
can't be an issue. Here's an audit.
All right, give me like, let's get a little bit personal here, because you and I are both family man, married, kids, and I know how much time and most people that aren't founders and maybe you're just traders or whatever, they don't understand like the dedication that we put into this space. Like how many days on the road do you think you've probably spent over the last 2 years?
Astronaut. I mean, last year I think I was on a plane almost 700 hours. I have 3 kids, right? So I've got 3 pretty young kids. I try my very hardest to like minimize time away from family. So I'll go to Dubai and I'll have a meeting and I will spend like 42 hours on a plane. So 21 hours both ways for like 36 hours on the ground, right? So 21 hours flying there, you're jet lagged, you do the meeting, you do what you have to do. And it's like not hanging out. I'm not working from Dubai. I'm not like seeing the city. I am on a plane immediately back home to be back with the kids. And so like, there's a very, very heavy toll, a lot of time away. I was just gone for 2 weeks straight. I'm going to be gone for another 12 days for DevCon and, coming up. And like, I try to minimize conference time as much as possible. There are people who spend way more time on the road than I do. But even that, it's a lot. It's a heavy toll for sure when it comes to family.
It is. And people need to, and like you said earlier, like, you hate it when people dance on graves and shit on other people. And that's part of the reason, right? Like, because they don't understand the sacrifice that people like you and so many others do within this industry. Like, to me, it's much more all-consuming than traditional business, because a lot of times traditional business, unless you've got your own business and you may work, say 50 or 60 hours a week, with Web3 or crypto, people want access to you 24/7, 7 days a week. It's a completely different beast.
Yep. It is. It started that way. I remember when we launched, everybody would, 3:30 in the morning, I roll over and we'll wake for 2 seconds. I'm like in Discord responding to messages and the Telegram chats, like all of it. Like I've always had like an obsession, as what Ryan always loves about, like on the product side, like you don't want anybody to ever leave with a bad experience ever. And so there's one side of like you built something of the product, but even take that out. Take like you're not responding to product, you're not helping people build, you're not doing any of the core stuff. Like the expectation on Twitter is that you're always available, right? You are there 24/7 all time. And so the entire company, we all got pager duty. Anyone in the company, if something urgent happens, I'm getting woken up in the middle, any time of day, period, whenever, and it goes for everybody in the company. Like, yeah, you are always on for sure.
Yeah, it's different. It wears on you for sure. I mean, there's no question about it. And I just feel for, I've been a dick in the past to certain owners or certain founders and things that I probably shouldn't have, because I do realize like how much hard work everybody puts in, and that's on me. But I know Trump or Kamala.
Fun one. So I think it's pretty. I think I'm GCR prediction, right? So GCR long time ago. I should have bet my net worth. How am I going to fade GCR? GCR a long time ago basically said, listen, media is going to tell you it's 50-50 the entire time, no question. Kamala odds are going to spike into the DNC and then go down from there. And he said Trump was like 95% to win or something like 4 to 5 months ago. And I should have taken the bet. It looks like a pretty clear path. Actually, I was just telling one of my friends that we should just blind bet every conservative party election that's happening in North America. So one thing, I'm in Vancouver, I'm in British Columbia. One thing that I thought was super interesting that's mid-race right now is last election, Conservatives won 2%. That's it. 2% of the seats, very little of the general vote. It is like a dead heat neck and neck where there will either be 46-45 for or 46-45 against. Basically are within 20,000 votes of the popular vote. Like unimaginable shift from 2%. It's really like, and if that's in Vancouver, I can only imagine what like the rest of this country and sort of U.S. and all of North America is. So it seems really underpriced right now. It seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I was talking to somebody with very good knowledge of internal polling and things like that about 3 weeks ago, and we were on a group call, and he said, Josh, and this was when Kamala and Trump were pretty much dead even and on Polymarket and pretty much on all the polls as well. And he was like, Josh, I'm telling you right now, our internal polling, we're up like 11 in Pennsylvania and up like 6 in Michigan and up like 4 in Wisconsin. And I think at the time they were losing all 3 according to the polls. So we've seen such a shift there, and obviously they knew what was going on behind the scenes.
So you were the Freddie guy, whoever it is, running it up and spiking the Trump markets.
No, I don't know. I've never touched Polymarket. I think it's phenomenal. I love what they've built there, and the fact that they've done it to a point where like everybody on the planet now is using it like as their conservative model, because the lead's so big. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job with it. I just don't touch political betting. It's not my thing.
So Nate Silver's model had Kamala slightly favored, but he said if Trump wins Pennsylvania, it's 95% Trump. So 11 in favor in Pennsylvania would be like a pretty massive indicator.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be the closest popular vote that we've seen in a long, long time. And I guess odds are still that Kamala wins that, but I don't think it's going to be much, and I wouldn't be completely shocked if Trump somehow pulled that off, to be honest. We've seen a huge shift. Let's talk a little bit about, being a founder in the space. For all those guys out there that are trading meme coins and trading for a living and getting involved in these communities, but they also want to build something, right, in the space, and they want to be in here for the long term. Because let's be honest, like founders and builders, there's more money in it. There's a lot more work in it, but there's more money in it than there is trading. What would your piece of advice be just for those younger guys to get a start?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, all right. The biggest thing I learned myself is when I started playing poker. So I had one job ever in my entire life. It was when I was in university. It was the first paying job I actually had until LayerZero. So for the next very long period of life, I didn't take a single paycheck from any of the things that I worked on. It was just maxed equity no matter what. But I had one job. I built out this entire thing. My first 6 months there, end-to-end, huge test suite, went out, got all the customers, made the company probably $500,000 to $1 million a year in contracts from this thing that I built myself. And I was always annoyed, actually, at the time that I was capped at 40 hours. They didn't want to pay me overtime, so I was like, I had to go home. I couldn't work on the thing that I was working on. Brought me into the office at the end of the year, sat me down, and they were just like, listen, phenomenal job, amazing, way better than we ever could have expected. We're going to give you the maximum allowable raise of 50 cents an hour from 10.25 to 10.75. And so that was a moment I was like, okay, like this is not for me. And what I really optimized on then was like a meritocratic environment. I wanted, if I crushed, I got rewarded disproportionately, and I wanted basically freedom, not to work less hours, but to work as many hours as I want. If I wanted to just put maximum time into it, I could. So poker met those criteria, and I spent the next 8 years of my life playing poker, traveling the world and playing poker. So work from where I was working, probably 70 hours a week playing, and I got very good, and I got a lot out of that, which was great. What I didn't realize until the very tail end of poker. Poker is like, trading is the same way. One of the most zero-sum environments possible, period. If you are not one of the very best, you're bleeding EV and you will eventually be obsolete. You will go broke. It happened to 95% of even the professionals that I knew within poker. You have to maintain the edge in like this really crazy manner. And so what I realized, I was basically just a highly paid consultant at the very end. I made X thousands of dollars an hour, and that was fantastic. But if I wasn't working, I was never making any money. And so it wasn't until later on in life that I really, two things that I firmly believed in. I've always had this like sort of chip on my shoulder that like everybody sucks and is lazy and like nothing's that hard, has just like always been my general stance to life. And so I've gotten good at a couple things. I was like very, very good at wrestling when I was younger, wrestled collegiately, wrestled all over the country, went to nationals, did all of that. I obviously got very good at poker. I'd gotten good at a bunch of different things. I knew like how to get good at something. What I realized is everything is pretty hard. So like everything is pretty hard, and you have to have an unbelievable amount of effort to get yourself in like the top 0.1%, let's say. And what you really want to focus on is when you actually put in all the effort and go through all the pain, and there will be a lot of pain and misery and like all of the sacrifice it takes to get there, and you're still going to need some luck in that 0.1%. But if things go right when you get there, is there enough asymmetry to make it worth it? And that doesn't need to be like strictly monetary asymmetry. So like one of the best one of the best examples of what not to do. My favorite anecdote was my friend. His father was grandmaster in chess. His uncle was the highest rated non-Russian chess player in the world. When he was 5 years old, he went and he told them like, "Hey, Dad, I'm ready to play chess." And his dad told him, "Don't bother, you're too old." At 5 years old. And so that always really stuck with me. Like chess, our children's children, like 5 generations could spend our whole lives trying to be the best, trying to be the 7th best chess player in the world. None of us would do it. And even if we did do it, 7th best chess player in the world, like still needs a real job, right? There's like zero asymmetry in that. And so I really started later in life realizing that everything was going to be hard, everything was going to require a lot. Put yourself in a position where if you do the work and the hard things, that you have enough pure asymmetry on the other outcome. And I think that just like massively, massively, massively compounds. I had told my wife prior to starting LayerZero, my wife was pregnant with her 3rd child. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to retire. I'm going to be home with the kids. It's going to be amazing. And then we had this idea, and I just like couldn't not think about it. And so I ended up having a very real conversation with myself, like, you know what it's going to take to actually do something that matters and go through all the hard work. Like, is it worth it? If you do this right, if this underpins sort of all of the future financial transactions, like, is that a big enough thing to do? And I was like, yes, like clearly it is. But my wife did not forgive me for like a very long time. I knew what I was doing. She knew what I was doing, and has definitely paid the cost this time around for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem though, right? Is like, if you've got that kind of an idea, you're not the type of guy, and most of us aren't, right? That can just sit around and play golf 3 days a week and chill, right? Like there's always that itch in the back of your head that you need to scratch.
There was just no way. Again, I tried every excuse I possibly could to not really, really do this for real. Again, it was just the 3 of us was like building for fun early on, but yeah, couldn't do it, and here I am.
Yeah, I've been there as well, buddy. I've had the same experiences and the same looks from my wife as well, as I'm sure you have.
Yep.
Entrepreneurs often talking about the importance of failure and learning from mistakes. Can you give us like one of those times where maybe was one of your most notable?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Again, so I talked back to co-founder differences. When we started our first company, we walked in. Okay, so here's how first company goes. Poker gets banned in the U.S. So I wake up one morning, tax day, which was just amazing of them. All of us had just paid our taxes. All our money was out the door. I wake up in the morning. There's DOJ symbols on every website that I use. All of my money's gone. I'm out of a job. Payment processors are dead. I have no clue if I'll ever see this money again. I just bought a house in Austin, Texas. Feel really sorry for myself for about a day. And then I realized one thing. All of my friends are going and signing up to the shady sites that are around. All of us are trying to figure out what the F are we going to do with our lives? How can we use the skill that we have and play poker? And so I started an affiliate. I signed up all of my friends to this affiliate site. And a month later, I was making like $20K a month from this. I was like, oh, like, okay, affiliate stuff is like kind of interesting. Like, let me see kind of what this is all about. So I went, Commission Junction, like learned all of this stuff. And I heard about these 2 guys. When UIEG was passed banning poker, they wanted to protect fantasy sports, year-long fantasy sports, old guys in their office pools playing your Yahoo leagues and doing that. The way that they wrote the law created this entire new industry that's now daily fantasy sports. DraftKings, FanDuel, sort of many tens of billions of dollars industry. Heard about 2 guys working on this and said, hey, let me come just work for you guys for free. Like, I'm just going to do some affiliate stuff. Like, let me just figure it out. Went really well. They asked me to be like CMO. Then 6 months later, the board asked me to be CEO and basically take over this thing. So they'd only raised $150K, really, really small. First thing I've ever done in entrepreneurship. They'd spent $135K on an external dev agency for a product that didn't work. So I kicked those people out, ripped everything out, pulled in Ryan and Caleb, and said, let's build this thing. We built the entire thing from scratch. There was 11 people in the category at the time. The next lowest had raised 2.5 million. FanDuel and DraftKings at the time had raised like 50 to 100 million. So we were like, we'd raised 150K, of which 135K was out the door before we started. We got to about third overall in revenue. So we were like crushing in terms of efficiency, just totally crushing. And we got an acquisition offer. It was the point where we were like break even as a company. We weren't paying ourselves, but not yet making money. So Ryan and Caleb, my two co-founders, were like, listen, I don't want to just keep working for free forever. Like, I think we should take this offer, outcome for the investors, like a little bit for us, whatever, but pretty small outcome overall. I was vehemently against it. Ultimately, I seeded. We did that. Company was acquired, rolled up. Within 6 months, people who were like 3 below us in revenue were acquired for like $50 to $100 million. Whole industry consolidated, like easily would have had like $100 million exit. And so, we were just like basically Ryan, my co-founder. And so, because again, we went apart for a couple of years and just did our own thing. And he came back to me and he told me, he said, listen, like, I really deeply believe that we can do something amazing together. I promise you the next time we do something, I will run my life into the ground. Like I will take it to zero. And a couple of years later, I called him 2 days after Christmas and I said, I think now's the time. I think you guys should move out here. 2 weeks later, he had sold his house, taken his 4-month-old daughter. Him and Caleb were living in my basement and we just started writing code. And we spent the next bunch of years writing code. And first couple of years of that sucked too, right? Like, I was paying out of pocket. We were doing all of this stuff to try to bootstrap something and figure out what are we going to work on? What's interesting to us? And it was hard. They had gone from a really they were making, like $500,000 a year in New Hampshire, and like $500,000 a year in New Hampshire is like infinity. You're just like, they're like nobody, like it was just, they were a very, very cushy life to making significantly less in Vancouver. That's infinitely more expensive. So like, it was hard. His wife, was like, you need to stop this and quit immediately and we need to move back. Like every hard thing happened along the way. And he stuck to his word and we did it. Like had we not gone through the early thing and we not what I consider a failure, there's zero chance we actually last through all of the hard part to get to building LayerZero. And I think it's just like we had to go through that together. We had to build the trust mutually. We had to realize that we were right there on the cusp and we did all of the hard stuff to get there. And then we packed it in right before we had this huge hockey stick asymmetry and valuations. So yeah, I think it's hugely important. I think failing in anything, you have to one thing I hated in the early days of crypto was just trading, just like everybody else, right? One thing I always hated, everyone wants to be told what to do. Everyone wants to just copy trade everybody else. Everyone wants to be given an answer. But if you don't actually have underlying conviction in what you do, the thing goes down 20%, you don't know if that guy sold and you're like, well, is it good now? Is it bad now? You're just completely lost. You're just trying to, you don't actually learn anything. I would way rather form real conviction myself that I understand why I'm making this, even if I'm wrong, and be wrong and learn and internalize it better. I think you have to be able to internalize your losses and you have to actually learn something from that. And I think a lot of the stuff now is just pure, right? If I bet on 6 on roulette and I spin the wheel and I lose, I'm like, I should have bet on 16. You know what I mean? You're not gaining anything on actually making yourself better. And so if people talk about the wonder that compound interest is over time, there's probably nothing more powerful than compound interest on your own knowledge and experiences. And I think it just makes a huge, it's not even that I meet a lot of people my age now, right? Mid 30s, who you think, I meet 20-year-old college kids now. I'm just like, what are these guys doing? These guys are clueless. And it's just this new generation, they just these guys are out of their minds. They're, I don't know, eating ass and doing Adderall and whatever. I don't know what they're doing. But
hang on. The name of this episode now is going to be eating ass and doing Adderall, by the way.
And so just I look at it like that, and I look at a bunch of the people now. I'm like a bunch of us who have come through all this stuff. I meet people. I'm like, they're sharp. They're on top of this. They're doing that. But there's actually no difference. Those kids now are going to be the same here later. It's just literally the fact that we have gone through a bunch of the hard stuff and learned some things, and it's just there isn't an intelligence delta at all. There isn't a capacity delta. It's purely just an experience delta. And I think it pays massive dividends, and it tapers off maybe in another like 15 years when I want to be playing golf and like doing nothing else. But like right now, I feel like there's just a massive edge. And I think it's the same for most people who have like actually taken the time to learn.
I hate to tell you this, but I don't think in 15 years you're just going to take off and play golf. I hate to tell.
I keep promising my wife. She's got this eternal, like,
he's full of shit.
One day.
I love it. All right, so for the people that don't understand or know LayerZero, which is probably very few in the space, but a lot of the new entrants, they may not. Just give the most, I guess, simplistic explanation of what you guys have built is.
Yep. So, all right. Didn't plan to build it. We built it because we couldn't do the simple thing that we felt like we should be able to do. The way, I think the simplest framing that I can give is back in the day, pre-internet, just a bunch of computers that sat around. You had them at DARPA, you had them at Stanford, you had them at every university. And there's just like clusters of computers that had some interesting software on it. Like if you wanted to run your data, you're like, I printed this thing, like I got to know what the result is. You'd have to fly to Stanford with like your little floppy disk and put it in and wait for it to run and get out your results and like you have it. And then we invented this thing called the internet that just like let these distributed sets of computers talk to each other. That's it. And the primitive for the internet is just like really dumb. It's a packet. It's just a bunch of bytes. You send a bunch of data, computer does something, it sends a bunch of data back. And that's how we talk now. It's how we do everything today. We were trying to build stuff and we just realized that blockchains, which are literally just distributed sets of computers, distributed execution environments with Ethereum and Solana and all of these things, had no simple way to talk to each other. And so we just invented what is effectively the packet. Is just a way that you can do some compute on Ethereum, send a message over with that data, and do something on Solana. So very simple things is burn an NFT here and mint it over there, bridge an asset across, but you can really do anything. Like the early stuff we did on the internet was really stupid. It was like, hey, increment by one, like put the number up one. And now it's like all of this, like you're playing Fortnite and doing, whatever, all this crazy stuff now. And so it really is just that base primitive. That's the only thing. And so when you think about what that actually means and what is like the opportunity there, the opportunity is basically, if you believe that blockchains are like fundamentally better vehicles for the things that they do, and that decentralization and censorship resistant matter and immutability matters, then you have to have a way that I just gave kind of a talk on this on permissionless that I think we're really conceding at the last mile, which sucks, right? We've gone through all of this, like crypto started with just like a bunch of cypherpunks and a bunch of people being like, F the system, this is better, I don't care, I don't want to ask permission. We like did it. We went from like zero to like $1 trillion industry with nobody, like everyone being like, these guys are total idiots. They're just selling drugs and, totally shady stuff. And now it's like every single institution is buying in. And at the very last mile, we're like, maybe we'll just add some censorship to this and like we'll compromise a bunch of the systems. It's like, we're here. Like they've been forced to adopt it. And so I like care very deeply that like the rails, the difference of the rails of the banking system, or if everything moves to public ledger, being censorship resistant or not, is the difference of like a third of the world being able to use them or the third of the world not, basically being shut out from having access. It's the difference between like Citadel being able to front run every single order that you have and somebody just saying, anything that you do that is profitable on these rails, if somebody else can make more profit doing it, I'm just going to give them first right to it. You get like the last scraps in the picking versus like a fair system, right? So we invented the packet. There's a bunch of things that make it interesting. But I think at its core, that is the thing, is like we care very deeply about the rails themselves being preserved. We don't care what gets built on top of it. Application developers can figure that out. People can figure out what they're going to do with it. We care very deeply about the usefulness of it and the integrity of the rails.
And this, kids, is why you actually should care about the tech, right? Like, it's all about the tech is such a meme, but you really fucking should because of those reasons right there. All right, let's move on to the new meta here. We're all about meme coins. How far do you think we go down this path? Are we on this myriad meme bubble kind of? I mean, it feels like Suzu last cycle with the meme coins at this point. The super cycle. But
yep.
A, do you think we are in a meme coin super cycle? And then B, do you ever feel, I don't know, slighted maybe, or something, that people that are building the real tech that matters aren't kind of getting the Kool-Aid and the accolades that they deserve because
So
of
I'll
what's
start with
going
that
on?
one. That one's the easy one. I don't feel slighted at all. I don't care at all about it. I just stood up. I was on a bus coming back from this event with about 40 other like really smart, awesome builders, bunch of VCs, and a bunch of people were taking the stance on meme coins are good, they're great, they're all of these things. And I was like the only contrarian who stood up and just like ranted for like 40 minutes against it. So I'll take the negative case of meme coins. I'm very much like free markets. Meme coins should exist. I have nothing against them. Fully endorse their ability to be made and people doing them. What I think is crazy right now is the entire industry has continuously, I've seen this again, 2013 forward, this has happened a lot of times of just like a really stupid thing that everybody convinces themselves is the best thing ever and is like totally different this time. And because the number is going up, everybody is willing to like forgive everything. And it's not until it dies that people are like, oh yeah, that was actually really dumb, right? And so the only thing I take issue with is that people are presenting meme coins as this like democratized future, whatever. Like, listen, meme coins right now, in my opinion, are one of the most hyper predatory markets that have ever existed. I think there is this perception that, and we had this again, go back to 2013, we had a lot of fair launch coins that were launching, right? That was like a meta. Everything was fair launch. Kobe was auditing contracts on Bitcoin Talk and realizing that half of them actually had hidden pre-mines, but even the ones that were fair launch were like really perfect because there's just massive info asymmetry where like there's cabals of people who have asymmetric influence overall, and they have the ability to know that, hey, this person is launching this thing. I know that person's not going to rug me. Me and whoever else are going to snipe this thing. And so if you look on a spectrum of 10,000 of these things being launched in a day, almost every single one of them is going to zero. And if you arbitrarily bet on them, you will just get completely slaughtered. And so people just have its pure info asymmetry. And so if you talk about like placing a bet, like I don't care if you want to bet on, gamble as much on meme coins as you possibly want. But I think people just need to be like transparent that it is structurally like you are any average person who is going and trying to buy a meme coin to make a ton. You will eventually make a bunch of money. Some people will make money. You will see people get very rich. People got rich during the ICO boom. People got rich during really dumb stuff in DeFi summer. It's like continuously happened. Like people will get rich, but they're lottery winners ultimately, right? Like you are structurally disadvantaged. And if you're fine just lighting like 35% of the check that you're writing over and over and over again on fire, if I wanted to, I could just go launch in a way that seems fair and equitable, etc. I'll just launch meme coins all day. I know exactly what percentage I have. I know what the distribution looks like. I'll just dump continuously. It costs me nothing to launch them. I can just print money at a whim, which is basically what a bunch of people are doing. They're just launching a ton. A couple of them take off. They sell it. They take their price. It's just like over and over and over again. And so if people are just intellectually honest, so like, listen, like a bunch of really predatory people are doing this. Maybe there are a couple of things that end up being like community owned and outpace kind of the early dumping, or you do have somebody who has like really high conviction, but the average participant is just going to get completely slaughtered on the way down. Everybody's going to realize this. A lot of paper wealth is going to go to absolute zero, as it has many times in the past. As I watched my own paper wealth in the 2018 boom go to basically, down significantly. It's just like it is going to happen. And again, you're a structurally disadvantaged participant. So just take it for what it is. It is, if craps and blackjack are, 0 to 0.5% house edge, this is like 35% house edge. So just know the game you're playing. I don't care if you play it.
Bryan is a boomer and a buzzkill. You heard it here first.
Yep. Willing to be that guy.
Wrong, but he's not fucking wrong. Yeah, the people need to understand how stacked the deck is. You got the same cabals running the same game plan over and over and over, using the same influencers. People need to understand that. Whether you want to gamble your own fucking money on it, that's your choice. But yeah, yep. They need to get it. Brother, I appreciate you. You've been on for like 40 minutes. I'm not going to keep you. I know you're super busy. But, you know, I appreciate you always having my back and all the things you've done for us and for Can Pie Pandas and just being a friend.
Dude, Josh, thank you for having me. I will be back anytime you want me to, whether it's to talk about meme coins and gambling or talk about the tech. Here for it anytime. Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one, man.